And now it's time for the latest exciting episode of Doz's Television Workshop.
Hello and welcome back to Doz's Television Workshop, where today, in a break with tradition, we're actually going to do a TV set. This wonderful Marconiphone 4816 black and white portable TV set from the 70s. Let's get into it. Well, here it is. It's filthy, for one, because it's been in my garage forever and a day. And the chap who gave it to me, which is my good friend Colin, it was in his garage for years before that. Hasn't been powered up in a million years. Yeah, it is fitted with the Thorn 1590 chassis, which is an all semiconductor 625 line System-I set. It's got the usual fault here whereby the tuner's all gummed up and does nothing. I was going to throw caution to the wind and just chuck mains up it to see if it worked. However, these do suffer with a fault whereby the HT rail can rise, sort of goes north of 15 volts and cooks the tube. So yeah, let's not do that. We'll have a quick look round the back. It's had the mains plug cut off. Never helpful. As you can see on the back here, we've got the aerial socket for the inbuilt UHF loop antenna. Some more filth. Model number 4816. 240 volt, 50 hertz. Battery of 12 volts. And yeah, there we are. High voltage, etc. Don't take the back off. We shall duly ignore that. And the idea is, with it being sort of battery mains, you could sort of take it on a picnic with you, run it off your car battery, and then when you finished your picnic, switch the telly off and find you'd flattened your car battery, it won't start and you never get home. Not the greatest of ideas. They do pull a bit of power, I seem to remember, but I thought what I could do is just hook up the 12 volts from the power supply and see if we can start it on sort of 3 amps or so, which is what my power supply will muster, and see if we get a picture out of it that way. So yeah, that's off. Set the current limit to 3 amps. I'm going to have to jury rig this plug a bit. I don't know how much current it'll take, really. It doesn't say. Well, this is going to work out well, isn't it? So positive is on the bottom. There's a little legend there we can look at. Right. What's the bet in? So by running off the 12 volt power supply, obviously our HT rail inside will not get north of 12 volts. It's not a boost converter. So main switch is off. I'm going to click the power supply on and yeah, switch on. And it's not drawing any current. I wonder if it's a bit of a dodgy socket on the rear. It appears not. Right, it's totally dead. Let's give the main switch a couple of goes. No, that's doing nothing. I will, however, just confirm we've got 12 volts on our power supply. Just in case we haven't. Stranger things have happened. I've had these leads go open circuit, you know, they get a lot of abuse on the bench. No, there's 12 volts there. Oh dear, right. So it would appear that we wouldn't have done any damage if we'd have put mains into it anyway. Okay, so these, by the way, were available under various guises as Thorn at the time. So it was available as a Ferguson, different model number. Those are the ones you most commonly see. They're black fronted rather than this grey, but there was an Alba, I believe, because everybody had a little go at Alba. What do we got? Screws underneath, do we think? Yep, 2 there. And there was also, this was a second chassis to appear in this set. I believe it was a Thorn 1500, which is a hybrid set, valves and transistors. that, yeah, that appeared first. Obviously no 12 volt option with that particular model. Right, is it going to yield? Oh, it is. This is good. Oh, it's filthy. Ugh. Yuck. Oh, it's worse inside. Oh, it's full of sawdust and brick dust and manner of unpleasantries. So, there we are. We've got, this is our tuner mechanism here, with a latch bar that's probably not latching. It'll be all gummed up in there with grease that's gone solid. As you can see, plenty of transistors to cope with. We've got an ITT A31 250W tube, that's a CRT if you're in the States, horizontal output transistor, and a very guilty looking mains fuse. That is just mains though, I think. Doesn't deal with our 12 volts. Ah! I've just spotted, can you see that? Let's have a zoom in, shall we? I'm not sure you're going to be able to see that. I shall angle the set. Can you see just down in there? There's a set of contacts, look. I bet that's mains stroke 12 volt switchover, which I'm betting our crop clips didn't muster. I just said that was the horizontal output transistor, didn't I? I lied. I think that's the regulator. The horizontal output transistor is down in there. You can't see because we zoomed right in. There we go. It's right down in there. Yeah. Oh, it's filthy, isn't it? Yeah, it is full of muck. Do I want to hoover that out before I go any further and get covered? Yeah, I think I do actually. Right, let's make with a soft bristle brush and clean things up a little bit. Well, that took a bit longer than I thought it was going to, but hey, it's a bit more sanitary now anyway. Right, I'm just trying to date the set. It'll be 70 something, but there's a Texas Instruments IC right down here, probably in the video or IF. There is SN76660N, and it is dated the 18th week of 1972. It's nearly as old as me. Bless it. At least I'm cleaner. Oh, it's still got stuff in it. Oh, it's a ghastly thing. Ugh. Anyway, it is there, or thereabouts. I've spotted a few of the dreaded lock fits in here. Is there only one? No, there's two down here. I suspect that might be some sort of power supply in there. Don't know. What we really need is a service manual, of course. Now, I did have one, but sadly, in that hard disk failure from a few months ago, I lost a lot of stuff. Yeah, so we haven't quite recovered all that yet. Still happening, but it's as and when I can do it. Okay, so what have we got over here? We've got a sticker down here, well, a label down here, important 2.5 amp fuse only. Oh, there's a little one in the bottom there. That's referring to that fuse behind there. Something else I remember about this set as well is early. Look at the rubbish falling out of it. Early sets had this capacitor. It's 1000 puff there. And it's across the output of the stick rectifier from the EHT overwind. That looks horrible. Is that starting to break up? Possibly. That capacitor, in my youth, I remember it failing short circuit, taking out the stick rectifier and possibly even the line transformer. I don't know. It was years ago. It was before I even started working the trade. I used to sort of get these sets from jumble sales for a few quid because they were getting on then, you know. But yeah, so let's have a look underneath. VT20, whatever that is, has been really badly replaced in the past. Can't see any shorty joints as yet. The on-off pot's had a soldering at some stage in its life. Has of these earth tangs going around the outside. We've had some, we've had some action there. There's a label here on the bottom. Use with germanium transistor or use with silicon transistors. So presumably I had a choice of horizontal output transistor. Oh, which that is VT20, look, by the output transformer here. Yeah, so that had obviously a choice of germanium or silicon output transistors. We've got a schedule thing here. You can't see that. Schedule C set. So that's sort of a revision C of the circuit diagram. So there we go. Right. I don't know where to go next, really. I'm going to check that fuse is all right. And then we're going to try and find a way to get 12 volts into it. Right. Right, I think I've worked out how we can do things. I've clipped my negative onto the chassis at the bottom here. I've clipped my positive onto this red lead, which comes from that leaf switch on the 12 volt socket. It's come off. And now I've spent all that time hoovering it out. I'm going to aim it at the camera and I'm just going to bring it up gently on the workshop power supply. I shall give out a call on the voltage as we're working our way up. Now I have dimmed the workshop lights slightly, so power supply is on. Let's go for 3 volts and just let it sit there for a minute. We are consuming 227 milliamps and it's slowly falling, sorry. So we might be reforming a capacitor, mightn't we? Could be something just going short, who knows. Yeah, I'm just looking for a brightness control actually. We probably want to advance that a little bit. I mean, we won't see anything yet. Right, that's brightness, that's contrast. Now, being I am a person of a certain age, I won't hear the line oscillator start up. You people might. So yeah, you're listening for 15.62 kilohertz, 625 kilohertz. So yeah. Right, that's fallen off now to 223 and seems to have steadied itself there. Let's take it up to 6 volts. Did I just hear a little squeak? Oh, one other thing. I have cut that EHT capacitor off because I don't want a line transformer job really, and it wouldn't be worth doing anyway. So right, we've got 5.9 volts. Let's up that to 6. There we go. Oh, okay. We have a little sound. It's encouraging. Have we got anything on the screen yet? No. More brick dust has fallen out of it though. I wonder if I can see any CRT heaters yet. Nothing yet. Right, 773 milliamps. Oh. Upping the voltage to... Oh, turn the volume down a bit. That's going to get deafening in a minute. Scratchy as hell, that volume control, unsurprisingly. What are we at? Just under 8 volts. We're pulling about an amp. 9 volts. And we are at 1.2 amps. Oh, and we've got a picture. Bit of fold over going on at the bottom. Let's take it all the way up to 12, shall we? And see what it looks like. It's as bright as a brass button, isn't it? Frame stage doesn't look very happy, but we haven't got a signal up it yet. yeah, let's put on pipette gen and see if we can't tune something in. Right, just going to switch off and organise that. Okay, I have got pipette gen plugged into the aerial socket. I'm just going to switch my power supply back on. We're going to give it the full beans at 12 volts. Incidentally, it's only pulling 1.5 amps. I thought that would be a bit more gutsy than that. So yeah, maybe it would have been alright to drive home after your picnic. Obviously these won't latch at the moment. So I wonder if we can just sort of hover about in there and find a picture. Nope. Oh. So I can just about tune that in. Well, we're getting live. There we go, test card F and a bit of music. Let's just put that over to tone before we get a copyright strike. So I can bring that back in again. A bit off on the frame hold, I think. Should be one of these two. Oh, it's difficult to hold it in place. There we go. Do you know what? Does this need absolutely nothing other than the tuner repaired? It's a bit low in height, isn't it? It might be because our HT is a little low. I mean, we're on 12 volts, but I don't know actually what's appearing at the socket. There might be a little bit of drop across the leads. Come on, where are you? Oh, I've gone out on vertical hold again now. Oh, the pot's as scratchy as scratchy can be. Let's just turn the height about a bit. It's got a super tube in it. Well, there's life in it. I think the next thing to do is work out how we can get this tuner in bits and sort out its sticky non-latching problem. Right. Okay, so we've got a bit of an aerial lead here. We've got some sort of strap there. Filthy. We've got a screw up in there and we've got one at the bottom. And then that should come out. So whether I've got enough room to sort of steer it out of there, or I just remove that bar perhaps, might do it, mightn't it? So let me just get a 4BA thing and see if it's 4BA, which it is. Yeah, so I'm going to remove the strap from this end, being as I've got that driver in hand. I can't see the electrical connections from the tuner. Presumably they will be apparent in moments few. And the screws got stuck inside there. Not helpful. Right. Here we go. Let's cut that one out. I think I am going to remove this bar as a precaution. And I'm also just going to put a nut in the bottom of there so I don't keep getting things stuck. Back on the shelf. Oh, perfect. So one out of that bar there. Whoop. One out of that bar there. This, by the way, is just an ordinary sort of driver that you'd get with a bit set, but it's either 4BA or so close to 4BA. It takes 4BA screws out, which a lot of television sets had back in the 70s. This one's loose, look. I'm going to tighten that up while I'm thinking about it. There we go. Right. That's a huge screw. There we go. He's out. And one in the bottom. Let me see if I can't get the driver in there. Just pop the light back on. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see much because it's right behind there. Oh, and just get on there. That's good. It's still shedding brick dust everywhere. Oh, I was doing so well. I suspect it's as long as the bottom one. I've just found the electrical connections to the tuner anyway. The IF and the probably amplifier voltages, HT to the amplifier that'll be in there, and the IF, I suppose. Come out, come out! There it is. So, there's our tuner. Now, can I unplug that without it being really awkward? Let me just disconnect the pipette, Jen. Alright, that's on some sort of... Oh no, that's the mains. How's it going? Going down here, and this orange thing, oh, it does. It fits into a... Looks like a Molex plug. And one of these lovely cable tidy things that Thorn used to use quite a lot. Love those. Much better than the zip tie, don't you think? Right, I've got a Molex plug here. 4 pins, presumably ground some sort of DC and the IF. You can see that there, 4-pin Molex-ish type plug. Can I take the aerial out? Is it socketed at this end? Ooh. No, it's not. Oh, it latched then. There's a lot of washers or something in there that appear to have turned to rubbish. This used to happen back in the day. I'm just going to unclip that cable. Can I? Actually, I could undo the aerial socket. It's one screw. Easy. Right, let me just lift the set out the way. Now, because one of those arms was loose, I'm not quite sure I trust them. So I'm just going to pick it up and put it down over here. Ooh. Don't know what I'm groaning for, it wasn't heavy. Right, one nasty Thorn mechanical tuner. It's all gummed up and horrible, isn't it? Now we can see in here there are the remnants of something, and I seem to remember this being an issue. Oh yeah, it's crumbling up before my very eyes. Let's have a zoom in. Wrong way. That had to happen sooner or later, didn't it? You can just see that's a bit of something. There's another bit of something in there. seem to remember these being some sort of washer that degrade and break up. Very common fault, but I've never done one of these before, so I'm a bit in the dark. It's all vile and corroded around there. Can you see that? It's pretty horrible. I don't know what that's doing yet. Right, let's just pop the lid off, shall we? Nice Thorn logo emblazoned upon it, so you didn't confuse it with Pi or anybody else. And there it is, just a set of variable capacitor vanes. Much the same as the Colster Brands tuner we did. 2 transistors, look, in there. There is some nasty sticky grease going on in there. So yeah, this unit here with the remains, let me see if we can see that in there. See this plunger here with the remains of the washer on? That one's actually moving the springs properly. This one, look, the spring is stuck back down here because it's gone past the washer. Same with that one. Oh, that's latched. And it's all stuck up with the next one though. So we appear to have got an issue with our washers. There's another bit there. Look. Oh, it's weird stuff. It's all falling out there amongst the brick dust and everything else that's in it. So clearly, yeah, there goes that spring as well. What we need to do is fabricate a little washer to go. There's like a circlip on the end of there. We need to fabricate a new washer to go over there. What we need is one of those little sort of nylon split washer type things. I wonder if I've got any anywhere. I might have. Then even if a solid washer, then I could cut it, snick it in place, and that would do, wouldn't it? It's not solving our sticking issue or a non-latching issue, and everything else is a bit gummed up, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Right, let's get my big box of washers and screws and see if I've got any sort of poly washers. Poly screws. Ooh. Poly washers. Is the hole going to be too big? This could be a very easy fix if this works. Right, so what I intend to do is just cut that washer, put a slit in it, then see if I can push it behind there whilst holding that spring back. Of course I'm going to need about 40 pairs of hands. Yeah, so there we go. I'm just going to snip that with my snips. That'll allow us to open it up. And of course I've got to hold the spring back. Just see if we can move this wiring out. Well, if I do one of these first, you'll be able to see. Or one of the middle ones, would that be better? Not really. There we go. I can hold that spring back like that. Well, this could be just the job. Like I say, I need another pair of hands now. Get the washer in the pliers, in readiness. Snick it over. If it'll go. I've just seen how the latching mechanism works, I think. This is all to do with our problem. Come on you go. Oh. That looks like a complete success. That is epic. There's the washer. So these, look, if you push them, the springs get left behind. But this one, now with that washer in place, still doesn't latch, but oh, it's latching some of the time. It's waking up from its slumber. Well, that's a super little fix. Let's carry on. I've heard people, you know, I've always read about it, but I've never known, I've never had to do it, so, and I've never really had much interest in it. Back in the 90s, you used to see these sets come in, but honestly, they were so rough, and you know, with the best will in the world, a lot of people didn't want to spend sort of 10 or 12 quid for you to take it apart and repair it for them. So, you know, a lot of them died. And a lot of them died from this. In fact, I'm sure I had a Ferguson one, Ferguson Courier, back when I was a kid, that I bought from a jumble sale, that had exactly this fault with a tuner wouldn't latch. And I sort of made it work by taping the knobs down and all sorts of rubbish. But, you know, I was young then. Oh! Right, I think this calls for a fast forward, doesn't it? Well, that appears to be working quite well. Tedious doesn't come close. And unfortunately, I broke one of the new washers as well, so I do wonder about the longevity of this particular cobble. If you look in there, you can see the new washers fitted. I do wonder if they may be a bit thick, so we've reduced the tuning range, maybe slightly, but yeah, it's looking quite good. You can just see how simple this mechanism is. This bar here, if I just unlatch it, this bar here is directly connected to those variable capacitors there. You can see the vanes moving as I move the bar. So this, depending on where it's screwed into, oh, that's tight. We need to free that up a bit. It pushes on that finger and moves the bar into the appropriate position. It's so simple. It's lovely. Right, we need to deal with these very stiff screws. Oh, I don't know. That's that one's all right. I think they need a little squib of something to help their course. I don't know. They're freeing up quite nicely. It's either that, of course, or I've just stripped the threads out of them. Oh, it was more washers falling out. I don't know what that is. Let me just check this is actually moving the finger. Yeah, it is. That's okay. There does appear to be another component made of a similar sort of stuff up inside that thing there. And I don't know what that is. I don't know whether it's going to be important or not. But I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? There. Quite a simple little repair, really. Frustrating to get all the bits in, but there we go. And there's no need to be in there. I'm happy with that. The Thorn logo was the other way up. Oh, that's the screening. Woe betide anybody moves that screw without knowing what they're doing. Oh, come on, go back on. I wish I hadn't taken it off now. There it goes. Right, I am going to clean those threads up and lube them a bit. What do we reckon? WD? Just a squib of WD to ease them on their way. Tiniest little bit on each thread. No such thing as a tiny little bit of WD, is there? It's all bloody nothing. Sometimes it doesn't do plastic any favours, but hey. It's all moving super freely now. I think that one's moving very freely. I think the other piece was a piece of plastic or something, just to stick on the thread slightly, so it sort of stiffens it. So when you push the button in repeatedly, it doesn't drift off tune. But I think for our purposes, that's quite all right. Yeah, that one's got it missing completely. Look how quickly that is spinning. So you can imagine as you're repeatedly pushing, what's that, the ITV button, it would, every time you push it, it would rotate slightly, but you can always tune it back in again. I'd be happy with that. Especially on a set that's, what am I? It's 51 years old. Wow. And the latching mechanism is working perfectly. That's done on this plate across here. Just see it pop up, maybe. Working perfectly. Right, let's clear this bench up again. It's absolutely vile. And put it back in the telly. Right, I was just about to start putting the tuner back in. And I've noticed this floating around in the bottom of the set. Now that's the sort of tensioner for the DAG earth. Let me just put that down and we'll have a little zoom and see if you can see that. Oh yeah, going the right way, look. So it's just down in here and you can see there's a strap here and the spring that connects to the aquadag. He's just sort of floating around, and I think it lives in this hole down here. Let me tilt the set, you might get a better view. I think it lives in that hole there. You can see it's sort of snapped off part of it. I don't know if there's enough thread to grip back in there again, but we can but try, can't we? So let me just... No, that's got nothing, which is a pity. I think a little dab of super glue in that hole and we should be good to go. So I'm just going to engineer that. Somebody did ask me what super glue I was using the other day, and it's this stuff. It's an RS adhesive CT80 black. And it seems to have a bit more goo than the usual stuff, so yeah, goes quite well. Alright, I'm just going to get that in there. If there's any left. Okay, that's in there. And because I'm impatient, I shall stick it in the hole and give it a squib with the old super glue activator. See if that can go off fairly quickly. That super glue activator smells wonderful. Probably shouldn't be saying that. No, it hasn't gone off yet. Talk amongst yourselves.
One eternity later.
Yep, that appears to have stuck. Excellent. That's perfect. Right. Let's get the tuner involved again. Whoa. The trick is here is not to drop that through the tube, because that would ruin my day. Okay, I need to support the set's front up a bit. That calls for some VHS video cassettes. I mean, we haven't seen those in ages. Right, there we go. Formula 1 99 champion on the track, and the Ruttles all you need is cash, I believe. Yeah, there you go. All you need is cash. Right. Okay, that's the tuner seated. Now it had these longer screws. Right, let's see if we've got a latches that work. Oh, we have. It's going with a super clunking noise now. Much improved. I should put my video cassettes to one side. I shall reconnect the Raspberry Pi pattern generator. Let's get our supply leads in place. That was on the red up there. I'm going to put the black on the chassis. Down here. And we'll put our power back on and see if we can't tune it in. Okay, we're pulling some current. Let's dim the light here. I have sound, but I do not have picture. What have I gone and broken? Well, that's interesting. It still pulls current with the switch off. Obviously the mains power is only for the main switch is only for mains power. I got nothing. That's very disappointing. Right, just switch off for a second, and I wonder if our high voltage is operating. This will be most disappointing if it isn't. What do I need? I need my high voltage meter. Right, I shall get on the DAG for this. And there's a little bit of exposed connection where I cut that capacitor off. So I'm just going to try and get on there. So let's switch on. And I've got about 9 kilovolts. So I've got EHT. So you'd think I'd have a picture, wouldn't you? I cannot see any CRT heaters glowing. So what has failed? What has failed? Right. Oh, I think I can see. That's video, apparently. So is this our heater winding there? And it's the bit that's still covered in filth. Let's see if they're labelled up. That's tag 9. Right, but let's see if tag 9 is at fault. Actually, looking at that, that's horrible. Let me just switch back on again. Have you got anything? Nothing at all. Alright, so we've got no CRT filament, but this pin here is just not very nice. In fact, the whole CRT base does not feel very good at all. And it's covered in muck. There's a couple of wires going over there as well. First anode and focus, I think that is. that does stop while we're here. Right, pop that back on and see if that has aided anything. Hey, I have heaters. That's all it was. Slightly defective base, I think. Yeah, I've definitely got a glow there. There we go. Right, turn the sound down for a minute. Just noticed on there, look, it says mini. I'm into me minis, as some of you know. Right, let's see if we can't tune in the pattern generator and get some love out of it. That's gone from one end to the other, and I've got precisely nothing. I can see that the bar moving. Oh. Ah. There we go. That looks reasonable. You're getting a nasty stripe on your camera, but no, it looks all good from here. So we set the height up a bit. Not much wrong with that, is there? Ah, sounds a bit stronger now. So I can get rid of that bar for you by altering the brightness. That camera is normally pretty good as well. Zoom in a little. That's just made it worse, hasn't it? Ah, that picture's great. Just a little bit of movement on the line, really. Oh yeah, that's none too shabby at all. That's not so good. I don't know, I'm quite happy with that. There's a few shimmery effects on it, but considering this is 51 years old, it's not going badly, is it? Right, the regulated 12 volt line is the next thing to want to check, and I don't know whether it's regulated from the power supply as well as on mains, because I'm too lazy to understand the circuit. I have now got the circuit diagram. I messaged Chris at VRAT, and he instantly replied to me with the appropriate thing. Now this is supposed to be 11.6 volts, so I'm just going to wind the power supply up to, let's say, 13.8, and it's still 11.6 volts. 0.7. There's a little loss of regulation there as the power supply wobbles up and down a bit, but I tell you what, that's not bad at all, is it? One thing I am just going to do is move the local distant pot slightly. See if I can get rid of that slight waveriness. Oh, we finally got rid of the bar on the camera, because these are always set up for lots of gain, and perhaps they don't need it. Not got rid of that slight waveriness, has it? I tell you what, that's not bad at all though, for such a simple little repair. So I think the next thing to do is connect the mains lead up. I shall use my unsafe block, which will meter up the regulator, regulated output voltage here. This is tag 24, by the way. Have we got a camera on tag 24? This one looking like it might be. Let's have a little zoom in there. So you can see this is where the tuner plugs in. Go on, focus, you know you want to. Let me just move that out of the way. You gonna focus? Be nice, go on, focus. This camera has always had a difficult time focusing. Ah, there we go, look at that. That there is tag 24, this purple wire here, which is our regulated 11.6 volts between that and chassis. So yeah, let's check that. Might want to put some spray on some of these pots just to try and help out a bit, because I don't know, that volume control's actually getting better with use. Give them a squirt anyway. And certainly this HT set pot, which is R104 I think there, we just want to make sure that's not noisy. That lack of heaters, by the way, I think it was just a bit of oxidation on the CRT pins, and just unplugging it and plugging it in again. Down at the power good. Current consumption is currently 1.5 amps, so yeah, pretty good. Right, let's get this mains lead stripped back, get it in the unsafe block, power it back up. Did wonder if it was old enough actually to have a red and black lead in it. Clearly not. So there we are. Missed. Gotcha. Gotcha. Right, I am connected to the Variac, and the Variac is connected to the not very safe block. Alrighty, okay, so we'll go there. Just want to put a couple of clips on the meter so I can leave that hooked up. Okay, and that's on our purple regulator pin, tag 24, set to volts DC. Can you see that? You can. I'm going to switch on. We are switched on. I'm just going to slowly bring the regulator, the Variac up, just so we can make sure that doesn't exceed 11.6 volts. 11.5. There's our picture. Let's just turn the volume down because it's intensely irritating. 11.67, it's a shade high. And are we creeping up? Oh, we are. Okay. 11.7, we're now getting on the side of too much. And I notice that pot is all at one end. As I adjust it, you can see the picture breathe slightly as we change the HT. 11.59, 11.6. Right, I'm going to leave that running for a bit and we'll see if it creeps up further, but it looks great. It's performing really well. Isn't that fabulous? 11.63. We may have to look into this. This is the regulator transistor. It's barely breaking a sweat. Right, let's just leave that running for a little while and we'll come back.
Later that same evening.
Well, I set that an hour ago for 11.6 volts. It went up to 11.71 And it came back down again to 11.47. The picture's looking fairly decent. One thing I have noticed is I've got the focus control does absolutely nothing. Now this is a pot over here, this green one here. I'm supposed to have 300 volts on one end and ground on the other. Well, that's nothing, so presumably we should have 300 volts on the other end. 314, close enough for government work, and 31.6 on there. So let's just see if that varies as I turn it. I suspect it will. I mean, the focus is quite reasonable, but I suspect actually, yeah, 301 volts, look. I suspect actually it never did very much when it was new. It's perfectly acceptable, the focus, don't get me wrong. But you can see, well, you can see that it's blurry at one end and it sort of sharpens up best about there. But it's not got terrific resolution. But it's only a 12-inch black and white telly. So I think I'm quite pleased with that. This shimmering verticals, I may spend a little bit of time looking at that. One thing I have noticed is the centering core here. Just tap it, look, it's very, very wobbly. And if I tap the chassis in general, things do wobble about a bit. And I've also noticed, now if I zoom in on the top camera, are you going to be able to see this? Let me turn the light on. You know, so far we have changed 4 washers. And that's it, and just repaired the tuner. You can see just here, just there, that black cylinder. That's a Callins capacitor. They don't have the very best of reputations, shall we say. So I think I'm just going to take that out and evict it, put a new one in, and I wonder if that will sort out our slightly crinkly verticals. So yeah, I'm just going to do that anyway. Right, it's that way around. It's a 1000 mic at 16 volts. Let's just put the old ESR on it, shall we? See what that makes of it. Oh, come on. Yeah, I think we've got operator issue here. Monitoring for component, jolly good. Capacitance not measured. (1082 microfarads). 0.3 of an ohm. You can't argue with that, can you really? That can go back in. Amazing. Just going to check on the polarity of that. Double check. It's positive that way. There's a little square around one leg. Appears to be negative. Let me just confirm that with something else I can see. Oh, it's all covered in fluff still. Positive is most definitely identified. So I think we've got that around the right way. Right, let's just power up again. The other thing I must say about this set is the sound. Very, very good indeed. I will turn it down for fear of a copyright strike. That's interesting. I've got no heaters again. Why is that? Right. I think I may have to give these CRT pins a little bit of attention. Yep, we're going this time. I think they do just want a little bit of deoxit or something on there. There we go. That's interesting. The frame's moved about. Why have I now got an offset frame? I'm just going to take a quick look at that C80. You know what? I've just really upset myself. That Callins capacitor, there was nothing wrong with it. And I thought when I took it out, I put it back in the other way, but I've looked at the legend on the board and I've got it right. But all of a sudden there's nasty ooze coming out the bottom of it, which means we fitted it in backwards. Never trust a legend on a board. I swore blind it was the other way around, and I have just ruined a perfectly serviceable 52-year-old capacitor. What was it, 1000 mic, wasn't it? 1000 microfarads. Right. I mean, you can see that on the camera. Let me zoom in on it. Oh, wrong way. It's just in there and it's oozing everywhere. I'm really cross with myself. Yeah, where are you? It's all wet and oozy. I've just destroyed that. Oh, I'm cross with myself. Ugh. Right, now we've got to clean the board up. Ooh, look at it. All over the shop. Oh, so cross. Right, what was it? Other than blown up. 16 volts. 1000 microfarads. Plus going that way towards you. 1000 mic. 16 volts. Oh, I'm super cross. Just goes to show how the march of technology has come on. Old one, new one, tiny. Positive, towards you. Just wait till that cleaning spray just dries off a bit before I apply power again. Last thing I want in here is a fire. Right, I'm going to need to set the frame back up now, I should think. Oh, it's not looking too bad. Little tweak to the height, and we should be back in our business. A little bit egg shape maybe. Tweak on the linearity a shade. Lynn does more for a height than anything else, I think. There. There we are. Lesson learned. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right, I think I need to go and give the case a bit of a scrub. I might just take this into the garage and blow all the dust, remaining dust out of it. Although it is 99% better. I think we've shifted all the brick dust. You've got lots of rubble out of it. But anyway, there we go. Working nicely.
Shh! Mrs. Dawes is out.
Excellent pictures on our Marconiphone 4816 TV set from around 1972, fitted with the Thorn or BRC, British Radio Corporation Limited, 1590 chassis. Yeah, very pleased with that. Absolutely gutted I blew that capacitor up. Perfectly serviceable after 51 years. And what do I do to it? Ruin it by putting it in the wrong way. Rookie error. There we go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish. You can buy me a coffee if you want. There's a link in the description below. And I'll see you very soon here on Doz's Television Workshop. Cheers now. Bye. TV set. In fact, this wonderful, let's do that again, I'm muffing my words. Do we want to level that up a bit? I think we might. 16. I did say I had a Thorn 1590 chassis in it, but back in those days they were of course known as BRC, the British Radio Company? Corporation, hang on. Corporation, wasn't it? British Radio Corporation Limited. Thanks a lot for watching. Click like, subscribe, do all that rubbish. If you want to and you like my channel, you can buy me a coffee. That'll be very much supported. It's bollocks. I did say it was a Thorn chassis, Thorn 1590, and there goes the phone. 4816 in this bollocks. Do it one more time and get it right. 1590 chassis, which sort of incorporated Thorn. There we go. Great little pictures on our Marconiphone. I will get this right. Bigger brother. This being the 12-inch, I think. Actually, looking at it, it's a bit bigger than that, isn't it? 4816. Well, that's going to be 12-inch. One last time, it's a 14. There we go. Fitted with the Thorn 1590 chassis, and the computer's just popped. And it was going so well. Finally nailed it. Thank God for that. Oh, death in paradise, don't mind if I do.